Hello, everyone. This is Theatricide. This is Shannon Blake Skelton. I'm just filming an impromptu review of Adam Rapp's Red Light Winter. The play itself is from 2006. It's written by playwright Adam Rapp, who was known for a long time as the brother of Anthony Rapp, the performer from Rent and various films. The play itself is really an engaging work. Um, it's a three-character piece that the first act takes place in Amsterdam, and then the second act takes place in New York City a year later. And the story itself, the play itself concerns two friends from college, one named Matt and the other named Davis. Now, Matt is really, they both went to school, we learn, at Brown University. And Matt, I would like to say, is, he's this quiet playwright who travels to Europe looking for inspiration. He's had one piece performed at La Mama. And he's a real kind of tender, poetic soul. Um, but his friend Davis is just an asshole in every way. He treats women very poorly. He treats his friend Matt very poorly. Um, he just is he's intelligent, but he's just such a jerk. So this is an interesting play uh, for actors because they would really have to find some way to connect between these two being friends. In addition, as I said, Matt is a playwright, and Davis has really kind of climbed the ranks in the publishing industry, which I found very interesting because he's such a complete jerk. I can't imagine him actually working in publishing, but I think that's one of the dangerous components to this character of Davis, because to get to that position, he's had to really veil his true self. So in Act One, as they're in Amsterdam, they're both staying in a hostel, and Davis comes back to their hostel room bringing a young woman that he met, and this young woman goes by the name of Christina, and she has a French accent. And Davis has brought Christina here to actually have sex with Matt. Matt's not a virgin. I mean, he had a long-standing girlfriend, had his heart broken, um, you know, and the woman actually ended up with his friend Davis. So Matt is looking to help. Davis is looking to help Matt kind of get back into the swing of things. Um, when Matt and Christina are left alone, Matt quickly notices, that her French dialect is just wrong, and it turns out that she's an American and she's been posing as a French woman, but is working as a prostitute. We also learn that she has a marriage to a gay man, and this kind of keeps her afloat. Um, so they have sex, and the stage directions are incredibly explicit. So I commend Rapp for really kind of being transgressive in that way, really kind of pushing, what is acceptable on stage for a play. Act Two takes place in New York City, and this is a year later. And it's very interesting because Matt has really romanticized this evening that he had with Christina. And it's something that has loomed very large in his life. Um, he still has the dress that she wore when they had their night together. He keeps it, he caresses it, he even gets into it at one point, um, so that he could feel like he was closer to her. Um, Christina actually comes to Matt's door and knocks on the door. And Matt is absolutely blown away. He can't believe that she has the address and so forth. Well, it turns out she's actually looking for Davis, and Davis gave her this address because Davis is such a jerk. He didn't want her tracking him down because she said something about maybe getting together at a later date. Anyhow, Matt is, I said, just flabbergasted that she has shown up, but she doesn't remember him at all. She has no idea who he is. So he has kind of blown up this kind of image of her for this past year, and she's really been an inspiration to him and his writing, and he's created this memory of that evening. But as I said, Christina, or Christine, as she says later, and then she actually has another name as well, has come looking for Davis. Davis actually barges in, looking for his cell phone, and during this time, he's just such an asshole. He's like doing all these things in a Matt's apartment because Matt has gone to get sandwiches and so forth. But Davis doesn't recognize Christina. And Christina had, she wanted to come and visit Davis and so forth. And he's just a complete jerk about it. And then he ends up raping her. Turns out that Christina has come back to the States because she's been diagnosed with AIDS. And she was essentially thrown out by her, her legal husband through that marriage that they had a friendly agreement for, and she's retreated to the States, and she has come looking for help. But Davis, as I said, doesn't even recognize her, and then when he does, he degrades her, and then he proceeds to rape her while Nat is gone. And so it's an interesting play in that, I mean, it riffs on a number of things, specifically La Boheme. Um, there's also some nice use of Tom Waits music and a cassette recorder, even though it would be antiquated in 2006 and so forth. There's a real kind of authenticity to it, and it really does capture some of kind of the elements of traveling as a young person through Europe and kind of the strange things that happen in these moments as they loom large in one's memory. Um, I do find this idea, almost kind of playing with the conventions of theater, the well-made play and the secret, kind of like something you would find in Strindberg or Ibsen. They kind of played with kind of elements of that and made it more sophisticated than those melodramatic, well-made plays. And I would kind of put Rapp's play in there, that he's taking kind of conventions of traditional drama and playing with them a little bit. And some of his stage directions allude to this kind of being reality, but not, naturalism, in the sense that, perhaps dreams or fantasies are waiting for you kind of right out the window or right across the street. So I would say that it's a mournful play. At times I would even say it's an elegiac um, piece, that really leaves you kind of sad and empty at the end. But the character of Davis is just such a complete jerk. I'm still like, kind of wondering how, Matt would be able to put up with him, and why, Christina would, kind of come back to find him as well. But the play, of course, is Red Light Winter by Adam Rapp. It's certainly one to read. I would kind of put it in there with Labute's This Is How It Goes, in the sense that there's moments of rawness in the piece that really kind of stick with you. And I think in performance, both these pieces would be highly effective in their own distinct ways. So All right, until next time, check out Red Light Winter by Adam Rapp.